Alright, this is the final video for our module, and it's on doing crosstabs, and specifically on creating some grouping variables and doing crosstabs with both Excel and SPSS. So since I made the last videos, I've changed my shirt, and I now have altered the spreadsheet to give you a copy to work with that's a little bit different than the one I've used in the previous videos. So now I'm using the same spreadsheet that you've been using. Alright, so you notice there's how many years and introvert, extrovert, etc. Now when I had done the crosstabs analysis in a previous video, I couldn't make much sense of the crosstabs because there was too many different categories of years. Every year, every person was a different year. I really want to put those people into groups so I can do some more group comparisons. And I'm going to do that by creating a new variable in my Excel spreadsheet, which I will bring into SPSS. Now alternatively, another way to do this, and maybe the easiest way for you, would be to create the new variable directly in SPSS. I'll show you that in a minute. But first, in doing it in Excel. So in Excel, I'm going to create a new column here, and I will name it group years, something like that. And to make it easier for myself, I'm going to sort this by the number of years. And then what I'm going to do is make everybody that's 0 to 5 years a 1, everybody that's 6 to 10 years a 2, and everybody that's 11 or more years a 3. Alright, so I select everything in the spreadsheet, sort, and I'm going to sort by how many years. Right. Now, if you're doing the same thing and you're not used to selecting data and sorting it, you really don't have to do that. You can just look across and say, well, that's an 11, so I'll make it a 3. But in this case, I'm just going to make that a 1 and fill down to all the 0 through 5s. Make that a 2, fill down through 10, and make the rest a 3. Right? Now, then I'm going to bring it into SPSS. Now notice I still have all this stuff, but when I bring it into SPSS, I will have skipped a few minutes in the video and will already have it formatted correctly. So here we go. Alright, so here's my data in SPSS, and you notice that I now have the years group in here. I've also renamed things, and in the variable view, I've got the strongly disagree, etc. labels going on, values. So I'm in good shape to do some analysis and have the output come out looking halfway decent. Right? So I'm going to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Crosstabs. I want to put Years Group in one of my rows, and I'm going to put, let's put Welcomes Feedback in my columns. Say OK. And now I got a simpler table and a little bit easier to analyze. So strongly disagree goes 0 to 1, disagree 3, 1, 3. I'm looking for some kind of pattern. And actually I do see a pattern here that is the agrees and strongly agrees are much more prevalent in the 0 to 5 group for this particular question. Now, if I was writing up the results section, I wouldn't say that last thing that I just said about the strongly agree and the agree are much higher for the years for the 0 to 5 group. I would simply report what the actual numbers were, because me saying they're much higher is adding a little bit of analysis, and in the results description, you really just want to purely describe what the data says. Alright, so you can see how putting things in some useful groups can enhance the analysis for crosstabs. Let me just do another crosstabs, and I could do all kinds of them, even with this small data set. Instead of doing years group, I can do the Myers-Briggs. Now Myers-Briggs I never translated into numeric data. It's introvert, extrovert, which is categorical data, but that'll work for crosstabs. So, introvert, extrovert, and all I see is a balance here, so it doesn't seem to matter. Again, my opinion, my inference wouldn't go in the results section. whether you're an introvert or extrovert, and how you answer this question. All right, that's crosstabs in SPSS. All right, now I'm going to do crosstabs in Excel, and what I'm going to show you here, for those of you who use Excel and like Excel but don't know this is probably the most powerful thing you can ever learn about Excel. I use it constantly in my job, and I think you're going to find it useful too, and that is creating a pivot table. The way you create a pivot table is, first of all, you select your whole spreadsheet. You're going to get an error message if you don't have column labels for every column that has information in it. But I think I've got mine set up okay. All right, so I'm going to insert a pivot table. Now, actually, in my PC version of Excel, I have an insert menu here, and if I click the insert, that's where I'm going to find the pivot table command. In my Mac Excel version that I'm using now, I have it under Data and Pivot Table. It may be in different places in different versions of Excel, but no matter what, you're going to select all your data and find the pivot table command and click that. What it does is it opens up a new worksheet, and the new worksheet is very powerful because it allows you to drag over values to create all kinds of pivot tables and all kinds of essentially crosstabs. All right, so I can drag these variables into rows or columns, and everything's going to appear over here, and I can do it pretty flexibly and change what I do quickly. All right, so I want to currently, let me take that out of there. I'm going to take group years and make it my row labels. All right, so you see that becomes 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to compare that to the same thing I did in SPSS, which is the last variable here. And I'm going to put it in my column label. All right, disagree, neutral, strongly agree, etc. for that question. And I needed to count up. I needed to fill in here. And I put that down here. So I drag this variable down to summation of values. And it is doing, there's many different things you can do here. I'm doing the count of each of the number of times that appears, which is a crosstabs frequency count. Right? And need to format the table a little bit. Right? So you see I get the same information here that I had in the other table, where I've got the agree pretty strong, 7, and the strongly agree 6. I don't like the way that it's not sequential the way I want it to be, but I'm getting the same information here that I got from SPSS. Of course, if you have bigger spreadsheets and lots more values, this can be even more powerful. I can also, just while I'm showing you a little bit more about pivot tables, I can filter the data here and still maintain the pivot table. So I want to filter according to Myers-Briggs. So let's just say I'm going to bring Myers-Briggs down to report filter, and now I can select whether I want to look at everybody or say just the extroverts. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at just the extroverts and that same arrangement that I had before. So I hope you like pivot tables because they're really, really fun. And I hope you like it, SPSS. But if not, I hope you will grow to love it with time. All right. Good luck with all the little steps. And remember to post in the help section if you get stuck.